The increased use of wireless technologies, such as cell phones, cordless phones, Wi-Fi routers, your tablets such as an iPad, you get the point. They're all exposing us to microwave radiation that is exponentially more intense than the Earth's natural radiation. Worldwide, there are serious concerns that the ubiquitous use of wireless technologies will lead to adverse, non-thermal biological effects. Generally, the public is not well educated on the potential risks of prolonged exposure to microwave radiation, as this is due to the fact that the telecommunications industry have deployed effective marketing techniques to help minimize the serious safety issues. It's time for those who have a responsibility for children, like schools for example, to take some action. We believe that we should all adopt the precautionary principle. For those who don't know what the precautionary principle is, it goes as follows.
If an action or policy has a suspected risk of causing harm to the public or to the environment,
the precautionary approach shall be widely applied by states according to their capability. Where there are threats of serious or irreversible damage, lack of full scientific certainty shall not be used as a reason for postponing cost-effective measures to prevent environmental degradation. Of course, this poses the main question. What is electromagnetic radiation and how is it harmful to children? Electromagnetic radiation, or EMR for short, are waves of energy that travel through space and spread out as they go along. EMR is classified by its wavelength and frequency and measured within something titled the electromagnetic spectrum. EMR is all around us, microwaves, radios, and even light. Wi-Fi networks, they use radio waves to help transfer information from routers to computers, or any mobile device essentially. Repeated exposure to EMR can cause something called electromagnetic sensitivity, or EMS for short. EMS is a painful health condition of hypersensitive reactions to electromagnetic radiations. The symptoms of EMS include headaches, numbness and tingling, dermatitis, tinnitus, visual disturbances, heart palpitations, and speech problems. A world expert on microwave radiation, Dr. Gerd Oberfield from Salzburg, predicts that, and I quote, "In a mere 6 years, half of us will become electromagnetically sensitive," unquote. This is a pretty similar prediction to that of the Royal College of Physicians, which in 2010 predicted that half of the Irish population will have a form of cancer by the year 2025. This chart illustrates a study that was conducted in Spain. It measured EMS symptoms for humans for various distances from cell towers. As you can see, the closer people were to cell towers, the more severe their health symptoms. It is also interesting to note that numerous studies have been done on animals and birds, and they have found that adverse health effects were evident in reproduction and behavior the closer they were to cell towers. Now back towards our main topic of what are the health risks of EMR to children? Well, Professor Deborah Davis from the University of Pittsburgh has written many books and papers on the detrimental effects of microwave radiation, especially as it relates to cell phone usage. Her words were very effective at summing up the controversy as it relates to EMR. Now the following is a quote from Deborah. "Because the latency between exposure and brain cancer could be 20 or 30 years, we are all basically treating ourselves like lab rats in an experiment without any controls," unquote. Despite the industry's claim that the current levels of EMR are safe, there have been more than 2,000 scientific studies that show that EMR can cause significant changes in the way that cell membranes in our body function. The body of research suggests DNA breaks, cell stress, sleep disturbances, blood pressure fluctuations, strokes, autism, diabetes, migraine headaches, attention deficit disorders, brain tumors, and brain cancer all have had increased frequency when there is repeated exposure to microwave radiation. Now, while I've been discussing this topic, I've had an image featured that shows 3 different brains. On the left, we have a 5-year-old brain. In the middle, we have a 10-year-old brain. And on the right, we have an adult brain. Now, what you're seeing is how deeply radiation is penetrating into the brain. And as you can see, the differences between a 5-year-old brain and an adult brain is exponential. This then helped lead us right back into one of our original discussions, which was Wi-Fi in schools. Is it safe? The debate about usage of wireless technologies in schools is obviously very controversial. On the one hand, there may be greater learning successes with new technologies, while on the flip side, constant exposure to electromagnetic radiation may pose serious health risks. Children are the future of the world, and at all times there must be a safety-first approach to their growth and development. As their bodies and brains are still maturing, they are much more susceptible to all the microwave radiation being generated in our increasingly widespread wireless world. I believe that the issue of wireless technology in schools is such a great one that I ended up doing a full year-long independent study on it last year. To help further educate my classmates, I ended up creating a video addressing and analyzing some of the health risks associated with wireless technologies. A video which I'm about to play right now.
If we wait on cell phone radiation, we will face a global epidemic of brain tumors and neurological disease.
Hi, I'm Rob Metzinger from Safe Living Technologies. I'm an EMF inspector, and I assess living spaces for electromagnetic field exposures. When I do my home inspections, I deal with people that are sensitive to this type of radiation. What I try and achieve is anywhere from 1 to 10 microwatts per square meter.
I mean, if you look, since 1970, with the advent of computers, there was one child who was born autistic out of 10,000. Now today, there's 1 in 67 males and 1 in 110 females. So who's going to take care of these children in the next generation?
Our guidelines in Canada are among the worst in the world. The only country that has worse guidelines is Great Britain. What they're doing with schools, with kids who are developing all sorts of heart problems, and that's some of the research that we did where we looked at heart arrhythmias and tachycardias, which is a rapid heart rate, for people who are electrically sensitive, who are exposed to microwave radiation. It's almost like they have a panic attack, and it's not brought on by anything that's happened to them apart from this exposure to microwave radiation. And what the schools are doing now is they're putting defibrillators into schools because kids are having sudden cardiac arrest.
Really the question that we're asking is Wi-Fi in schools, is it safe? Did you know that industrial strength Wi-Fi is used in schools? Did you know that the highest exposure is very close to your computer, your iPad, or your smartphone if you're connecting to the internet? Did you know that Wi-Fi radiation is pulsed, and pulsed radiation is much more harmful than continuous? Did you know that we have no long-term, low-level studies with humans exposed to Wi-Fi? None. We're doing the experiments as we speak. But we do have rat studies that looked at long-term, low-level exposure, and this is what the rat studies showed. If you expose rats to 2.45 gigahertz, which is the same frequency used for Wi-Fi, there's impaired immune system, there's an increase in primary malignancies, and there is an increase in metastatic cancer. So the cancer is actually spreading to other organs in the body. This is another subject. This is their heart rate during the different intervals, 68, 122 beats per minute, happening instantly, dropping down to 66, going up to 129. This is when this particular person is exposed. And you can see you don't have to be a cardiologist in order to interpret what is happening in this particular graph. The interesting thing is, this is a responsive subject, and they were exposed to levels of radiation that are 0.3% of safety code 6. They're below 1% of our safety code, and their heart reacted instantly as soon as we exposed them to the radiation.
An excellent comparison to help me showcase the telecom industry is the tobacco industry. Through propaganda and their immense wealth, they were able to dominate our society and fight any studies that could threaten their product. This is no different today.
Let's go around back where we can't see him. Gee, we ought to do something, Fred. Okay? How's about taking a nap? I got a better of blend makes the big taste difference, and only Winston has it up front where it counts. Here, ahead of the pure white Stilton, Winston packs rich tobaccos specially selected and specially processed.
What we did with smoking, that little report I told you about at the National Academy of Sciences on passive smoking, it took almost 20 years before governments finally acted to curtail smoking. Air Canada was one of the first airlines in the world to stop smoking on planes. But even that was a very slow process. Meanwhile, look at what happened with tobacco, with asbestos, with vinyl chloride, with hormone replacement therapy. In all of those cases, we waited until we had a massive epidemic that was undeniable. If we wait on cell phone radiation, we will face a global epidemic of brain tumors and neurological disease, and I'll be gone, and the world will be saying, oh my God, how could we have done this?
Alright guys, that pretty much concludes our presentation. I'm Eric McDonald, and I hope you found this video very informative. If you have any further questions or wish to further progress your education, please swing over to www.safeschool.ca. Great website, a lot of information on there. Go on over, check it out. Anyways, until next time, see you around.